Formula Boss Ireland Championship travelled to Kirkistown in Northern Ireland for rounds 7 and 8 of their series at the end of August 2021. A warm, dry day of hazy sunshine welcomed the drivers for a day of action which would include a race for the Leinster Trophy in the afternoon. Sylvie Mullins had made the trip north to maintain his championship lead from Fergus Faherty. Earlier championship leader Gerard was also back in the World Series car, and Paul O'Connell would be hoping to prove his Dallara GP2's qualifying pace with a race result. Eamon Matheson and Tony Greenan would be hoping to use home advantage to wrest the lead of the Boss 1 Championship to over 2 litre cars from Tom Gaughran, all three in sports cars. Matheson was so keen to impress on home turf that he actually went and cut some in Saturday morning's practice. Perhaps with August coming to an end, he's already thinking about Movember. As well as a good position overall, Fergus Faherty has a strong lead in Boss 2 for under 2 litre cars from Gaughran. Michael Roche would be keen to make a strong impression here. Paul O'Connell topped the timesheets in a Friday evening qualifying session at 105.145 miles per hour, at a time just about a second off the all-time record here at Kirkistown. Sylvie Mullins was second at just over 103 miles per hour, and Gerard O'Connell, Gaughran and Tony Greenan all broke the 100 mile per hour barrier to complete the top 5. We went down the garages to get a few words from some of the drivers ahead of the first race. Gary Graham, who'd qualified 14th, had hoped that gears that were too long for Mondello would be more suitable here at Kirkistown.
The problem was the last day, the gear ratios are wrong in the car for Mondello the last day, that's why it wasn't performing as actually should. So we thought they were going to be right for Kirkistown for today, but unfortunately they're still not right. Like going down the back straight here, the car's only tipping out in 5th gear where it should be 6th.
Despite not having the perfect setup, he's still really enjoying the Kirkistown experience.
Very quick, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic circuit, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I really love it. Like if they're going through that, it's really sees the pad stuff going through there, like it's really quick. But brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Michael Roche was 6th ahead of the similar local car of Noel Robinson. He was really enjoying the flat-out speed of this track.
Yeah, look, it takes a few laps to get going again after the Mondello. It's a totally different type of the speed and the braking and everything, to be committed. But it's nice to get to stretch the legs there and head up for 140 plus is great.
He was trying out a DRS system on the rear wing, but finding the extra buttons a little bit of a handful.
I'm always trying something, anything for. Yeah, I've just messed. First we tried it earlier on in the year, then I had a few issues, so I just parked it for a while. So we tried for the weekend. And I think it's making a bit of a difference, but it's just another thing, another button.
Tony Greenan had an excellent run to 5th in qualifying with the Radical SR8 and was the fastest sports car. We caught him preparing for a group photo.
Finished 5th, so it is. I think Eamon a wee bit behind me today, but he'll probably come through the grid, I would imagine, into the first corner, probably in first place. Things just a rocket and take off, so it is.
He compared the overtaking situation here to Mondello.
I think it's actually a bit easier here. It seems the track's probably a wee bit wider than it would be at Mondello, so it is. So it suits the bigger jars here, bigger engines in them.
Unfortunately, his car spent most of the rest of the day in the garage and didn't make the start of either race. Gaughran was very satisfied to get last year's championship winning car onto the second row of the grid.
I'm delighted to get it to 4th. I think I was saying yesterday I didn't think we'd have the pace to get that far up the grid anyway, but I expect by turn 1 to probably be back in about 8th. We'll see how it goes, that's all you can do.
He's very appreciative of his time in the car.
Big shout out again to the lads, savage work all weekend getting the cars ready. Big shout out to Tom and Dad for the opportunity to drive the car. As far as I know, this is probably my last day in it, and it's sold. From what I'm told, it's sold. So just big thanks for letting us take it out. It's been a beast to drive. So we'll enjoy it.
It was great to have Gerard O'Connell back in the World Series Dallara after he missed a couple of rounds. He seems to be enjoying himself again.
Back again at it, so we are. Things working out alright for us here this morning. Got 2 seconds back in my lap time there from my qualifying, back down to late 52 there this morning. Best of getting quali was 54, so more than happy here this morning.
He described how the bumps feel at 160 miles an hour.
Car's great, but it's so bumpy when you're flat and deaders. I think it's maybe 164. You're flat and deaders there, like it's, you can't see, like you just have to know right the corners there. But your eyes, once you pass deaders, your eyes get settled down again.
And talk about blurry vision. Sylvie Mullins and his crew had been up till 1 o'clock in the morning solving mechanical issues on their car.
Gearbox out. We've had a problem in our clutch and making shame out of Michael Roche's handling jack. So it seems to have worked. So I have a clutch. I had no clutch yesterday. I seem to have a clutch on for the 5 minutes warm up. So yeah, I had no clutch and I was trying to change yesterday. So you're trying to time the gearing to get into gear without the clutch. And then I missed the gear from the second to the third. I went back in the first. I overran them. I thought I did damage, but I think we're okay. I think we've actually got it out. So yeah, clutch and keep going basically.
His main concern for the day was to forward his championship campaign.
Fergus is my nearest rival at the minute, so I kind of have to finish the race more importantly than where I ended. So I need to be ahead of Fergus, basically. That's what I need to be. So that's my goal. If anything else comes, it's a bonus.
Paul O'Connell is finally getting some mileage in the GP2 Dallara.
We had a great day yesterday. It was so nice just to get in the car and run with no problems. The car ran very well yesterday, and it was the first chance of actually starting to build a sort of an understanding of the car and such. So really, really good fun. Lovely car to drive. Quite good down the straight. Doesn't particularly want to stop, but that's fun. I can tell you on the back straight.
He explained a bit why he and his team found themselves a bit on the back foot with preparing the car for this season.
It's a very last minute thing. The deal to get this car, it's an ex-Italian hill climb car, so it's still on steel brakes and stuff, and it just popped up kind of at the last minute after my World Series was sold. So to be fair, normally when we take in a car, we strip it completely and get to know it properly. But unfortunately, we've had to try and do this on the hoof as we go because we wanted to run it because it's a cool car.
A cool car indeed, and leading out the field for a warm-up lap and to take their positions on the grid. Jonathan Fildes would have to start from the pit lane, having missed the qualifying session the night before. Note that Tony Greenan was the first car to avoid the bump at the end of the pit lane, showing his local knowledge. That's another local driver, Noel Robinson, in an F3 Dallara, who's hoping to do this and some more boss rounds this year. The early morning fog had cleared, and it looked like this race was going to be held in golden sunshine. It's a nice wide track here at Kirkistown, and you can definitely see four noses as they start. Paul and Sylvie look a little bit hesitant, and Gaughran makes good progress from the second row. Then the power of the 4-litre GP2 car kicks in, and O'Connell has a significant lead by debtors. Gaughran is in second, Sylvie Mullins third, and Michael Roche has made a great start in fourth, with Gerard O'Connell just behind him. Daniel Faherty has had trouble getting going from the grid, and brother Fergus has started from the pit lane, just ahead of Jonathan Fildes. O'Connell leads around Fisherman's, down towards the chicane. Gaughran is just about sticking with him. But Sylvie Mullins is a bit further back. Michael Roche fourth, Gerard O'Connell fifth, and Noel Robinson is right under Matheson's rear wing. Daniel Faherty is caught right up with Gary Graham, and he makes a move to slingshot past. We just glimpsed Jonathan Fildes catching the pack, and Fergus Faherty seems to have further troubles just after getting out of the garages. Onto the start-finish straight, and we see that already in just one lap Paul O'Connell has made a significant lead. Sylvie Mullins is keen to get past Aaron Gaughran. Gerard O'Connell is making shapes behind Michael Roche. Michael Connolly leads Noel Robinson, Roland Doherty, Tom Gaughran. Daniel Faherty did carry off that move on Gary Graham, and something must have happened to Eamon Matheson at the hairpin because he dropped from the middle of the pack to behind Fildes. That car is fast and very composed. Aaron Gaughran has made a bit of space from Sylvie Mullins. Michael Roche has held off Gerard O'Connell's advances. Noel Robinson is getting a little look past Michael Connolly. Behind Roland Doherty, Daniel Faherty is having a look past Tom Gaughran, but the Turbo Radical accelerates out of trouble. Eamon Matheson gets back past Gary Graham, and Jonathan Fildes looks like he's starting to lose ground. Paul O'Connell is still making hay while Sylvie Mullins is behind Aaron Gaughran. And Gerard O'Connell passes Michael Roche up to 4th. Michael Connolly in 6th, Noel Robinson 7th, and Tom Gaughran passes Roland Doherty up to 8th. Daniel Faherty 10th, Eamon Matheson 11th, and Gary Graham 12th. And we do seem to have lost Jonathan Fildes. Hopefully he can get his car fixed for the Leinster Trophy race after his efforts to be here. O'Connell finally getting seat time with this car. He gets to exercise it through the chicane. Aaron Gaughran enjoying what might be one of his last opportunities to drive this fine car. Gerard O'Connell looks like he's making a bit of ground on Mullins. Behind Michael Roche, Michael Connolly and Noel Robinson are stuck together. Daniel Faherty has passed Roland Doherty and has made great progress against Tom Gaughran through the corners. Eamon Matheson approaches Doherty and passes him. On the start-finish straight we see that he caught Daniel Faherty as well and is going after Tom Gaughran himself. Gary Graham is the sole Formula Renault driver these days. Paul O'Connell staying away from the second 2 curbs of the chicane. No such luxury for the others. Gerard O'Connell getting a bit loose off the middle one. Michael Roche in a very solid 5th position. Connolly and Robinson continuing to battle it out. The Radical sports car is able to make good ground on the straights from the F3 Dallara. Matheson looming behind Gaughran gives us a little Le Mans thrill at the right time of year. Daniel Faherty and Roland Doherty often end up around the same pace at Mondello. It seems similar here. That's a great sound. Aaron Gaughran continues to push hard because these two are looking bullish behind. Paul O'Connell begins lap 6. Coming out of the hairpin onto the short straight, we see Sylvie Mullins very cleanly makes his move on Aaron Gaughran up to 2nd. Further back on the lap, Tom Gaughran, Eamon Matheson and Daniel Faherty are continuing to compress and expand like an accordion. The storm between Connolly and Robinson seems to have abated for the moment. The Turbo Radical and the Jade seem very equal on this stretch. There certainly doesn't seem to be any more teething problems with that car. But what's this? It's not Sylvie Mullins. Aaron Gaughran comes through in 2nd again, with Gerard O'Connell putting him under pressure. Mullins has gone missing. That means Michael Roche is up to 4th now. And the tussle between Michael Connolly and Noel Robinson is now for 5th place. Gary Graham begins his lap 6 as Paul O'Connell starts lap 7. And this lap Gaughran has a little bit more clearance over Matheson. While up at the line, Gerard O'Connell is really putting Aaron Gaughran under pressure. Michael Roche now in 4th in his F3 Dallara. Sylvie Mullins has freewheeled to a stop on the way into the chicane as Paul O'Connell enters it on lap 7. He's just after lapping Gary Graham. Aaron seems to be able to defend his position through the corners from the World Series of Gerard O'Connell, who exits the chicane rally style. Whatever the style, he comes out of the hairpin and is able to come up the inside of Aaron Gaughran along the pit wall and into 2nd place. The Connolly-Robinson battle is at full intensity once again. Matheson was pulled away a little bit from Daniel Faherty and is putting big pressure on Tom Gaughran. Paul O'Connell is mostly lapping in the 53s at the moment. He completes lap 8 here. Looks like it's taking a lot of driving from Gerard O'Connell to keep the World Series in 2nd place ahead of Aaron Gaughran. A big flame from Michael Roche as he enters the chicane. On the start-finish straight, once again it's Aaron Gaughran that appears in 2nd place. Gerard O'Connell has gone missing. Michael Roche moves up to 3rd. Noel Robinson trying something different at the chicane. This contest is now for 4th place. But that manoeuvre has cost the Formula 3 driver quite a bit of ground. In the distance, little has changed between the other 2 sports cars. And Daniel Faherty is still hanging on in there in 8th place now. The race leader comes up on the back of fellow Limerick Motor Club driver Roland Doherty. Holding his nerve when both Sylvie Mullins and Gerard O'Connell passed him has paid off for Aaron Gaughran. Those fuel pump issues from Mondello the last time out seem to be well forgotten at this stage for Michael Roche. Paul O'Connell starts lap 10 as unfortunately Gary Graham pulls in with an issue. This gives us a chance to note the massive pace difference between 1st and 2nd place. Aaron, with half the engine capacity of Paul, is lapping in the 55s, with the best race lap so far of 54.936 on lap 4. Michael is mostly setting 55s too, but with some laps dropping a bit lower. Michael Connolly in 4th has built a bit of a margin from Noel Robinson. And these 3 are still hard at it. But at the end of lap 10, Tom Gaughran doesn't appear out of the hairpin. Eamon Matheson moves up to 6th and Daniel Faherty is now 7th. Despite just being lapped by Paul O'Connell, Roland Doherty will move up to 8th. I wonder, will the new owner of this car bring it back out in Boss? Michael Roche in 3rd place, still using all of the curb. Michael Connolly in 4th does seem to be able to maintain that little margin he has over Noel Robinson. Daniel Faherty is getting right up behind Eamon Matheson again. Paul O'Connell is now approaching them from behind. He's on lap 11. Roland Doherty is getting great time to learn this track. 2nd place for Aaron Gaughran in the absence of a finish for Fergus Faherty would be very good for his championship campaigns. And this should move Michael Roche towards a podium in Boss 2 Championship. A 4th place would be very good for Michael Connolly's championships too, especially the Boss 1 category. Paul O'Connell has made his way past Daniel Faherty, and it takes a little bit of effort to pass Eamon Matheson on the straight. But he does. This shot goes to prove just how quick the self-built Jade is against the GP2 Dallara. Roland Doherty has just completed his fastest lap of 58.991 as Gaughran comes up to lap him. Michael Roche keeping off the outside curb this time. While Robinson uses all of them in an effort to close on Connolly. With the Jade being almost as fast as the GP2 Dallara on the straights, it's really remarkable how Daniel Faherty can make up so much ground on the corners in the F3 car and keep with it. All that gain is gone each time by the start-finish straight. Gaughran gets past Roland Doherty unhindered. Michael Roche completes his fastest lap of the race at 55.138. Perhaps having Paul O'Connell to follow helped Eamon Matheson to increase his speed. A little bit of a margin there over Daniel Faherty this time. That's Paul O'Connell's fastest lap of the race at 51.726, slightly quicker than the qualifying pace. Gaughran has just done his second fastest time of the race, just barely over 55 seconds. Michael Roche's pace as he comes up to lap Roland Doherty is dropping off fractionally. As they pass the pit lane, Gaughran, after resolving an issue, comes back out for more laps. Michael Connolly and Noel Robinson will fight all the way to the flag, I think. Oh, and there's a bit of sideways out of Paul O'Connell there. I think Daniel is lining up for one last push behind Eamon Matheson. This has been an incredible debut season for Gaughran in Formula Boss Ireland. His father Tom has been vindicated in lending him the right cars to race. Michael Roche is clear of Doherty now. O'Connell's future in the GP2 car comes into focus, as it looks like they'll complete their first race distance. Michael Connolly still has a death grip on 4th place in the Radical SR8. And Eamon Matheson is holding on to 6th place with equal determination. This could be Aaron's 4th second place of the season. In fact, when he's finished, he's only finished in 2nd place. Michael Roche had a 2nd place at the first round behind Gerard O'Connell. That's Roland Doherty in 8th. Virtually all of Paul O'Connell's Boss 1 opposition fell aside in this race. Will they all be back for the Leinster Trophy in the afternoon? Noel Robinson will be keen to get ahead of Michael Connolly at the start of the next race. At the end of 17, the final lap board comes out for Paul O'Connell. Connolly will have to hold Robinson at the exit to the chicane one more time to remain 4th. It's been a very strong performance for Paul O'Connell and the GP2 Dallara. Robinson has one more look up the inside of Michael Roche. And Paul O'Connell takes his maiden win in the GP2 Dallara. He'll be delighted. Michael Connolly can stop looking in his mirrors and look forward again. as he takes 4th from Noel Robinson. Daniel Faherty kept the pressure on Eamon Matheson to the last, but there was no way through. And Gaughran will claim another 2nd place. But that's a great result in a sub 2 litre car. Tom Gaughran, who's 5 laps down, pulls aside to let Michael Roche go to the line. That's 3rd place for Michael Roche, but it was worthwhile for Tom Gaughran to come back out again to finish and claim 9th. Roland Doherty now has some good Kirkistown mileage under his belt, and he'll match his race number to finish 8th. A very pleased Paul O'Connell waves to the applauding crowd, appreciating the great show of machinery and driving. Back in the pit area, we got to talk to some of the drivers we'd missed earlier in the morning, including Noel Robinson, who had such a great battle with Michael Connolly.
Yeah, it was a really good race, good battle with, it was hard. I was quick down the back, he was quick in the straights, so just seesaw it all the time, but I was just waiting on him making a mistake, and unfortunately he didn't.
That's part of the joy of Boss, isn't it? The cars can be quite at a different pace in different areas.
Yeah, that's it, and different cars have got different characteristics, like the F3 that we're in. It's quicker around the bottom section, around the technical bits. Obviously the power then helps the other cars in straights, and the aero in the F3 cars helps up, but we're just lacking a wee bit in the straights. But that's the way it is, as you say, that's Boss, and that's the beauty about the class.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, to be honest. I was just behind him off the start, and I think we all got a bit boxed in. Eamon Matheson was boxed in as well, so he must have only been on half throttle. And then on the back straight, I just had a bit more top speed and just went past him. But from that point on, I was just parked the bus, and he was always right with me through some of the quicker bends, and the chicane, the S's in particular, was just right up my gearbox. But look, the Radical is just much quicker in a straight line, and once I concentrated on getting my braking points done, that was kind of it. I'd say it must be quite frustrating to be behind, but that's the nature of it sometimes.
We also spoke to Daniel Faherty, who had been so close to Eamon Matheson.
I did enjoy it, yeah. I had a bit of bad luck at the start. I stalled it, but I got back going and passed out a few of them, and then had a good dice with him, and then
And what was it at the start?
just went to go, ready to go, and next minute it blipped into second. So I should have been in first, but got it going and got it back up to the field a little bit. A bit more would have been better, but it is what it is.
Did you find it a hard track to overtake on?
Well, then through the tight stuff, I'm very quick through there, right on Eamon's bumper. Along the straights, Eamon just blows you away.
We too were blown away by the action at Kirkistown, and we'll bring you our coverage of the race for the Leinster Trophy next week.